MECE is the most used word in any consulting preparation. If your structures are not MECE, if your style of communication is not MECE, it is probably guaranteed that you will not get an offer from McKinsey, BCG. That's why everyone lays so much importance on making MECE structure, being MECE in your communication, and that is exactly what we are going to cover in this video. I'm going to tell you 5 ways. If you cover these and master these, I can assure you all your structures going forward are going to be MECE. By the way, my name is Kashish Malhotra. I'm the co-founder of gradnext, where we help people break into management consulting firms. With that, let's get started. Before we move on to understand how to make MECE structures, it's important to understand what is MECE. MECE essentially means mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. What that means is a mutually exclusive bucket will not have any overlap. So for example, if I have to divide the students in an MBA college or in a UG college, one way of doing it is men and women, male or female. So there is no overlap here. These are two different buckets. Or first year and second years. Again, there's no overlap. What will not be a mutually exclusive bucket here is first year and women, because some of the first years will be women and some of the women will be in first year. So there is an overlap if you create a Venn diagram here. So this is not a mutually exclusive bucketization. And collectively exhaustive means if you add up all the buckets, you should get the entire universe of the answer. So if I'm trying to understand how many students or how many MBA students are there in a college, and it is a 2-year program, first year plus second year will give me all the students, or male plus female will give me all the students. First year plus female will not give me all the students, because first years I've added all the female I've added, but I've not added the second year male students. So that part is missing. So to ensure that you think like a consultant, you need to think in a MECE way, which is mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So with that, let's get started into the 5 ways of making your structures MECE. So first method is numerical based or algebraic based method. Here you have to break down everything into formula. No matter what kind of problem it is, try to break it down into formula, because formula inherently is MECE. Essentially, if you put actual values in that formula, you should get the right number. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to calculate what is the revenue of apparel or an apparel brand. The formula could be as simple as number of units sold into average price per unit. Now, what we need to keep in mind is that formula can be written in multiple ways. The same thing can be written as number of stores into average revenue per store, or number of customers into average transaction value per customer. So total revenue can be written in 3 different formulas, which I just told you. So try to break it down into formulas, and once you put values into these formulas, you will get the right answer and your structure will be easy. Having said that, it is not as easy as it sounds. The most common mistake I see people making is that they're not able to get this formula right. This was an easy example, but let's say we want to calculate what is the revenue of Netflix just from subscription in 1 year. Now, this formula is a bit tricky. So the total revenue for Netflix just from subscription in 1 year would be total number of subscribers into monthly subscription fees into the lifespan of a user. A lot of people miss that lifespan and multiply it by 12. So it becomes a bit tricky, and therefore writing formulas is important because it makes sure that your approach is easy. The second method is A not A, or opposites. It is one of the most simplest yet powerful method to make sure that your approach is MECE. Essentially what you need to do here is try to get opposites. Let's say I want to ask what is the issue in your family. That's a problem statement and I want to figure that out. You can start off by saying, hey, either it is a financial problem or it is a non-financial problem. So what you've done here is just taken opposites. Either it is an internal family related problem or an external non-family related problem. So opposites are again inherently MECE, because you are taking one bucket and then the other one which is completely not a set of this, right? So that is the second way to get a MECE structure. The third way, again a very powerful method you can use when you're not able to think of any structure, is the process journey. Try to map out the entire process of the customer or the process value chain, which will help you understand where essentially a problem is or where essentially you should focus on. So a quick example of that is, let's say your client is a toffee or a candy manufacturer and you want to figure out the reason why the demand for candy is going down. Now you can simply lay down the entire customer journey, saying that it could be a pre-purchase issue, during purchase issue, or post-purchase issue. And you can finally bifurcate pre-purchase further down into multiple buckets, during purchase further down, or post-purchase further down. Similarly, on the supply side, you can look at the entire value chain of production. Either it is an R&D related issue, a procurement related, production related, outbound logistics related, warehousing related, sales and distribution related, or after sales related issue. So you've broken down the entire value chain of production, which will again help you to narrow down on what the problem is. So building a value chain both from customer side or supply side is a good way to make things messy. The fourth method, which is a bit tricky and sometimes difficult to implement as well, is using groups and segments. What you're trying to do is trying to identify different types of segments. Let's say you want to calculate how many people in India have an iPhone. You can segment them into incomes, which is high, middle, and low. You can segment them based on their geography, which is rural, urban. You are trying to calculate, for example, let's say how many students in your college consume Coca-Cola. You can segment the students into first year, second year, third year, fourth year. You can segment based on gender, male, female, right? So identifying different segments and bucketing users or consumers based on that is also another way to make sure that things are messy. What you have to make sure is that your segments in itself are messy. You shouldn't take first years as one segment and girls as second segment. So be very careful about it. It could get tricky in industries where you don't know things about. So make sure you keep it very clear and simple for yourself and for the interviewer to follow as well. And the last and the most famous way to make things messy are some of the existing structures that are already there, such as the 4P structure, 4Cs, 4As, 3M structure, the profitability framework, market entry framework, growth frameworks. These are frameworks which are already made. There are about 8 to 10 frameworks and 10 to 14 structures beyond those mainstream frameworks which are there, which you can use to make things messy. If you want these structures and frameworks, let me know in the comments below. I'll make a separate video on this where I'll cover all of these structures which can be used in your case interviews. So yeah, that's it. To conclude, 5 ways to make sure that your structures are messy. First, numeric or algebraic. Second, A not A. Third, process or customer journey. Fourth, groups or segments. And fifth, the common existing frameworks. If there's any other way which I have missed and you have been following to make sure that your cases are messy and your structures are messy, do let me know. If you like this video, put down in the comment section and hit that like button. That will indicate to me that you're liking the videos that I'm making, and I will continue to make such videos. If you have any recommendation, also put that in the description below. With that, thank you so much and see you in the next one.